Hey, so there's a lot of confusion regarding what people with diabetes can and can't eat. And in the past 2 days, you've seen me eat a cake sample and ice cream. So I thought I'd talk about that today. Now, note that I am living with type 1 diabetes and use insulin to balance my blood sugar. And things are very, very different for people with type 2 or prediabetes. So just speaking to my experience, my doctors have always said that I can eat whatever I want. However, that doesn't mean that I should eat whatever I want. Basically, this is where what the nurse in England said comes into play. She said that I have the choice to live a healthier life than those living without the disease. And food is a big, big part of those choices. And for me, living with diabetes means having developed a love-hate relationship with food. Because don't get me wrong, I love food. I absolutely adore food, especially eating huge meals with tons of friends and family. But food and eating it is also the cause of many problems. Because even the best diabetic treatment with insulin falls so far short of normal glucose control in a non-diabetic person. So I'm very envious of your pancreas right now. But I should read once again what I read a while back when talking about insulin therapy. In Wikipedia, it says, because of the complex and interacting factors, it is, in principle, impossible to know for certain how much insulin and which type is needed to cover a particular meal to achieve a reasonable blood glucose level within an hour or two after eating. And that impossibility is exactly why I always talk about managing the disease and guessing how much insulin I need to cover what I'm eating. And those guesses are based on the training that I've been given as well as the experiences that I've had actually eating those foods. Now, I developed the disease pretty late in life, which means that I already developed all of my eating habits, both good and bad. For instance, I do love vegetables. They're yummy. But I also really, really love ice cream a lot. And Rite Aid chocolate chip is definitely my favorite. So this is where the I can eat whatever I want comes in handy, because I'll just read the nutritional label on the side of the ice cream and give myself a dose of insulin based on the number of carbs in the serving that I'm about to eat. But I'm going to talk about all that a little bit later. Now I kind of want to talk in general about diabetes and diet, because there's been a long history to that. I guess back in 3500 BC, there's actually notations about elevated glucose, elevated sugar in urine, and how to treat it with diet. In India, there's writings from like 2,000 years ago, and in the 8th century, they made arguments for calorie-restricted diets. But then at the turn of like this, in about like, 1908 or something like that, there was a lot of arguments going on for calorie restriction from Frederick Madison Allen, and he was treating diabetics from about 1915 to 1922, so before insulin. He was treating them with what could be referred to as a starvation diet. So by restricting the amount of calories going in and the amount of sugar that your body had to process, he was able to basically keep people alive longer. It definitely didn't cure people, and some people did die of starvation, but it basically increased your life expectancy. So thank God in 1922, Banting came along, Frederick Banting came along, and with the discovery of insulin, and it allowed for so much more flexibility for eating for people like me. And now the controversies over diet remains, but basically what most people recommend is a diet that is high in fiber but low in fat. So it's the same diet that everybody else is supposed to be on. You're just supposed to have a good balance of proteins, carbs, and healthy fats, and yeah, a balanced, healthy diet. That's what I try to do. Luckily, as a kid, I never drank soda, and I keep my candy desires at bay. But you will see me use lifesavers to treat hypoglycemia. So when I have low blood sugar, oftentimes I do grab a bunch of lifesavers because they're very high in sugar and can give me that quick hit so that I don't have any further complications. Now, I use lifesavers because I don't like hard sugar candy, but I can tolerate lifesavers. And this is because when I used to use things that I did like that were high in sugar, like Starburst or really tasty granola bars, they would somehow disappear before I would need them for the emergency. But anyways, so basically, you just eat a healthy diet because with the insulin, I'm able to calculate as best as I can how much insulin's required for the amount of carbs that I'm eating, and eating a full, healthy, balanced diet like everybody else is what's recommended. And like everyone else, it's kind of hard in modern times to do that, but that's the best thing that you possibly can do for yourself. I'll go into more about things that influence your decisions on eating, like the glycemic index, and also being able to read the back of a nutritional label. As much as frozen food is awful, and I don't like eating it, sometimes it is really nice to be able to tell exactly what's in something, thanks to a nutritional label on the side. But more on that later. All right, cheers.